What's up, guys? Cajun here, and I think it's time we bring Let's Talk back the way it was originally intended for. Not for me apologizing every few months whenever I don't consistently upload, and not for channel updates, but for issues I have an opinion on. And this episode is something that hits kind of pretty close to home for me, since it has to do with marching band. I've come across 3 videos this week, now 4, I'll get to that in a second, of a band performing during halftime at their college's football game, or in the fourth video's case, high school. And the kickers, and in the fourth video, the entire football team, are out warming up while the band is performing. And if you can already tell, I'm kind of not here for that. Not only is it disrespectful, but it can be a huge safety issue, especially in the last 2 videos. And like I said, I typed a lot of the script up last night, and within 24 hours, another video has popped up on Facebook of a local high school team from back home doing something similar. So, this video is going to be a lot longer than I originally intended, so buckle up. Let's get into it. Now, the first 2 videos I came across are from this kicker's point of view, where in one clip he's warming up on the field while a band's performing, and another where he and some band members more meme each other than anything else, and kind of goes a little bit too far. Now, this guy's name is Darian Crow. In his videos, I don't really have too much of a problem with compared to the last 2 videos. He's an Arena League football player, and his team apparently goes around playing different colleges, some NAIA, Division 2, 3, stuff like that, colleges to recruit and scout some guys to come pick up and play in their league. The reason I don't have as much a problem with this guy's videos is that these bands that are performing are pretty small, at least the first one, and he's a relatively safe distance away from the band. Like, small bands usually don't take up the entire field. Usually it's the 300, 400 piece bands that do so. And then here at Tech, we've been doing that a lot more recently with Dr. H, because he likes to spread the field out and use the whole field, because he comes from a big school like Ohio State where they fill the field. And then the other video is kind of like a harmless joke, but there's things from both sides, both his side and the band side, that I didn't quite like. However, I still don't think he should warm up during the performance. Let's just watch the 2 videos.
Slayton.
Alright, so in this first video, you can see he's pretty far away. Nothing really for him to get hurt. He's good. My problem here, though, is that you kicking on the field is pretty disrespectful to the students who have been working their asses off all week to not only bring a halftime show, but a decent show to put on in the stands and cheer their college on. Of course, this isn't, as far as I know, a Division I school they're playing, and so the crowd isn't too big. But if this is a local university, you definitely have parents watching the stands, and overall, kicking while they're performing is distracting. You don't want band members coming on and warming up on the field while kicking a game-tying field goal to go into halftime, right? Don't do it to them. And this is why I think it's so disrespectful. Granted, I go to a Division I school, so these smaller schools may work differently, so hear me out. Here at Louisiana Tech, our athletic departments meets with the band director, Dr. Heidenreich, at the start of the year and is like, hey, here's the amount of time you have for each show you want to do this year. This is what we're giving you. So not only does, the band doesn't just come on and perform whatever they want. They get a set time limit to perform. Hey, this is when we're going to be off the field. You have until this time. And usually, in our case, that's about 12 to 13 minutes. Of course, with the exception of homecoming this past week, where performance was like 7 to 8 minutes, and then like 4 to 6 for homecoming court and stuff like that, yada yada. My point being, the band is given a certain amount of time to be able to perform for a game, 12 to 13 minutes. And you can see in his video the timer right there. There's still 10 minutes left on the clock before halftime is over. Now, usually NCAA rules are 20 minutes of halftime unless decided for a shorter halftime by the schools. But considering this is Arena Football League and an NCAA institution, or maybe an NAIA institution, it might be a little different. But even if it is shorter than 20 minutes, the band has about 7 to 8 minutes. Like, there's still 10 minutes on the clock, so you've still taken up. You're still there while their performance is still, quote unquote, their time has been allotted. You're still in their allotted time. And a lot of the comments in these two videos were, "Oh, it's a football game, not a band game." And I'll get into that later once we get into the third video. Moving on, the second video has him warming up, and it seems that now he's on after the band is finished, so that's fine. He's kicking, and some tuba players take a ball. So playfully, he goes and takes a bass drum that was left unattended. He moves it just a little bit, and the band director comes and yells at him. Here's the video.
I was warming up when tuba players stole my ball.
I got robbed by bandmates.
After 1 million views. Here's part 2.
Go get my shit. Back up! Y'all go tell that bitch give me my shit. Whoa,
I'll get you damn football. Get the hell out of my man.
you okay?
I'll get you damn football. Get the hell out of my man. Now.
Excuse me, I got it all filmed. I'm kicking, they took my fucking ball, the tube is up there. They took my damn ball. I'm gonna get all up in my face. Oh, yeah, I got you. He all up in my face while this lady over here talking to me, and I'm telling her, your people took my shit. Yeah, fuck one of the damn tube niggas up here.
Now, a lot of things here. One, band members, they really shouldn't have taken the ball. Yeah, it's a good meme. Take it, run away. But then give it back after, like, faking him out or whatever. Like, like a, oh, yeah, I'm just messing with you. Like, now there were people in the comments, allegedly from the band, or maybe some spectators saying he was on the field during their performance again. And as we've seen, he does do that. But he made a response video about what he was doing beforehand. Roll the clip.
Did you honestly think about this live before you typed it up? See, this is why I have my phone and I stay recording, because people will lie on you every time. It's all on video of me walking out to the field with my camera behind the band. I filmed you guys a couple clips. I filmed me stretching on the goal line in front of you guys. And I filmed when Brock Lesnar, your director, came over coming off of me, bro. I filmed when I walked between the band. My camera stayed rolling. I did not run into nobody. So who did I push, and why do you keep pushing this lie? So again, like I stated, there was a 20-minute halftime. I gave you guys 12 minutes to do your performance, and then I came out to stretch and do my warm-ups. Once I realized the tuba guys had took my ball, I realized, hey, they're not coming back. I took a drum thinking it was a joke until Mr. Lady came over getting in my face. And then your director came and got in my face and told me to get out of her face. And nobody believed that my ball was taken from me. So I went to go get somebody who wasn't associated with the band, an authority, to go get my ball.
Now, we have none of this footage he claims to have. He hasn't posted it anywhere on TikTok. But if what he said is true, and I don't think he has any real reason to lie, I honestly think he's fine here. Two, though, he shouldn't have touched the bass drum. If you go on this guy's Instagram, he also has a passion for drumming. He posts clips on his Instagram. He's actually pretty decent. But that would also means he knows how much a drum set costs, let alone a marching bass drum, which those things are expensive. So I could see the director's anger, especially since this is a small school and this band probably doesn't have a budget to begin with. You don't need some random arena football player to be messing up a drum. But that also brings me to my third point, which is the director didn't need to yell at him and get that upset. He looked like he was actually about to fight this kid. Your students did take his ball. Should he have just talked to you and said, hey, some of your band students took my ball. And then, oh, let me go get that for you. Hey, kids, don't steal this ball. Sure. But he was trying to play along with your students, albeit not in the best way. And like I said, I don't have too much of a problem with this guy. But Darian, if you're somehow seeing this, just please don't go on the field until the band's finished. Do some extra stretches if they go a tad too long, or just do some sideline work. More in that later. I don't know if you have the specific thing I'm going to talk about, but I'm guaranteeing you probably do. Just give some respect to those students that have put just as much time into their craft as yours, because I can guarantee you that at least those kids practice 2 hours a day, probably 3 to 4 days a week, 3 to 5 maybe. So just give them a little bit more respect. And I mean, you keep on your grind, but also let them have their moment. Now, the third video is a lot more worse than Darian's. Unfortunately, we don't have a full clip, and Florida State doesn't have a band channel like Louisiana Tech does. Hey, go check those out. I edit those. But this is a bit bigger of a deal because it's two Division I college football teams, and one are assholes. Play the clip.
Literally cannot give the band a single moment.
You can run,
but you can hide.
So that was Georgia Tech's kicking unit coming onto the field mid-performance by the Florida State band. Now, unfortunately, like I said, Florida State does not have a YouTube channel, and the video doesn't show the time left during halftime, so I'm assuming the kickers came on way too early. Now, the part that infuriates me about this video is that you see they're behind the color guard, in front of the band, in the middle of the performance, in the middle of the set. They aren't far away like Darian was. They are in the set. And now, this is probably the most brain-dead thing I've ever seen in my life, because guess what? Here in America, every single Division I college football team has a kicking net on the sidelines for the kickers to warm up with, and for them to stay warm during the game. I cannot count the amount of times that the kicking net has been in front of us, and we meme the kickers when they come warm up. We do this thing where it's oh, and when their kickoff happens, we go, ooh, sick 'em dogs, ooh, 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 and we bark. We have done that so many times with kickers on the sidelines. Why can't you do that instead of coming onto the field and kicking in the middle of the set? If the band's still performing, go to the sideline and use your kicking net for 2 minutes. Now, if they go overboard on staying out late, then go on the field if it's safe. And with, Georgia Tech, most of the bands in the ACC, except maybe Miami and yours, are around 200, 300, 400 people. And if you can't catch the hints, your receivers can't catch passes for positive yardage, just don't go onto the field. Pretty much, this whole video boils down to safety, but mostly respect, in my opinion. These fans across the country do so much for the football team each and every week in college, and that sort of stuff is noticed by the players. In my time here at Tech, I think we've only had this situation once, and I can't remember if it was Tech players or the opposing team, but it's never happened again, because the teams appreciate the band so much. And it's not that they tell us that every time they see us or anything, but we can tell. They show it. And not only that, but band students have classes with some football players, some basketball players, and stuff like that. And they say, oh, we love y'all. Y'all bring so much energy to the game, and all that stuff. Always praise. And we've been told plenty of times we make such a difference to the game. And honestly, we really do. I went to a men's basketball game during COVID when my band wasn't allowed to play for basketball games. For whatever reason. Even masked, even bell covers, couldn't do it. And that place was dead. That is the deadest I've seen the TAC been. Like, since I've been here, that's the deadest I've seen the TAC, our basketball arena. Like, to no fault of the cheerleaders or the dance team, the band just wasn't there to be our silly selves. Like, they just, the band, the cheer and the dance team just don't have or like aren't allowed to do and have the same energy that the band can bring. They're on the field, they like hype up the players right on the field. Like if there's a big dunk, I remember one time last year, Kenneth Lofton made a big dunk for the LSU game, or had a big put up and basket for the LSU game, and like a cheerleader and Kenneth were like in each other's face. It was awesome. And so the cheerleaders and dance team, especially the male cheerleaders, are down there for that. We're up here in the stands trying to get the fans into it. And cheer and dance did a good job of engaging the fans like they normally do, but the comedy from the band, the music, the ribbing, the refs, it wasn't there, and it wasn't at all as fun. And then, not only that, but the football team probably appreciates us, I guess, a ton more, because after every away game we have, no matter what, we welcome them back home to the locker room. Whether it's 12 a.m., 4 a.m., rain, I guess there's not really any shine since usually the time is late and it's dark. Heck, we were in the rain this week, and we had to be so what usually happens, we have this place called the Davidson Athletic Complex. It's a big building where the team has their locker room and like weight room and meeting rooms and stuff like that, and we usually line up on the side right outside, and they walk in to through the doors. Well, this time it was raining, so we had to be under the cover, so we had to be like in their little walkway they usually walk through. And we had so many players give us like fist bumps as they passed. They really appreciate it. And I remember for the Conference USA tournament, if you go back and watch those vlogs, the basketball teams appreciate us so much as well. Like we had Anna Robinson saying that she likes saxophones, and that her mom, or I think it was her mom, came up to us and were like, hey, Anna Laura loves y'all, like she loves to play the saxophone, she wished she could play the saxophone, stuff like that. Like that's awesome. Like that's just awesome. And I'm glad that Tech has that connection to our sports teams and to our athletes, that we may not see each other all the time, and we may not converse with each other and like mingle with each other all the time, but when we do, it's always pretty good. Now, this last video that I saw on Facebook hits a bit closer to home because this is from home. Thibodaux High School and Terrebonne High School are schools that were in the same district as my high school, South Lafourche High School. So we'd see their bands at competitions, stuff like that. We'd play them pretty much almost every year. A little bit less since I got to school, since we transferred from 5A to, I think, 3A in football. This video, Thibodaux's getting ready to do their pregame performance, which they've apparently done for decades now. Honestly, I don't remember. I think the last time we played Thibodaux was... So we actually did play Thibodaux every year. I don't know when the last home game was, but every year I was there, we did play Thibodaux. I honestly don't remember the pregame show, but I believe it. Like, I don't think that's something you just add in one random year, especially since it's been the same band director for a little while now. Honestly, not many high schools get to do a pregame show. However, as the show starts, Terrebonne's football team is still on the field doing last-minute walkthroughs. I'm going to play the video here and watch what happens.
Would everyone please rise for the presentation of colors, followed by the national anthem.
So the band, the badasses that they are, most of them marched through the football team, kept the show going, didn't give two shits that the team was still there. And honestly, that takes balls of steel. There have been plenty of times where either a judge for competitions just coincidentally in my set, in my first few years, if a judge was there, I would hesitate. But that loses you points. And if judges are in the way, the sort of unwritten rule is to make it to your spot. Hit them if you have to. The problem here is, of course, this is a football team, not a judge. They're going to talk shit, fight back, and that's exactly what happened. Multiple comments in this Facebook post are from color guard parents reporting that players called their daughters fat and bitches, and even touched and pushed some of them. Like, my sister is on the dance team at her middle school, and probably will be in the color guard in high school. If this ever happened to her, well, of course I want to say I would go fight some kids, but I honestly know I wouldn't do anything. But I would be super pissed off. These girls don't deserve what happened to them at all. And the fact that they were touched and shouted at vulgarly, it doesn't need to happen. Especially when the pregame show has been done for decades. Now, I'll give Terrebonne a slight benefit of the doubt. Their coach is a first-year head coach and apparently new to the area. And he had this to say in response. Coach Tyler Lewis, I don't never make posts about addressing football games. Great English there, Coach. Maybe you need to enroll in some of the classes you're coaching at. Learn a little bit of English. But you know what's crazy to me? Is how no one comes to the head coach, athletic director, or principal about a pregame show. We had no idea of what was going on. I mean, no one told us a word. The refs didn't know. But my team, my staff, my school is disrespectful. Not one person came and asked us about moving. Not one person. I mean, I think if a band is coming at you and like playing towards you, their horns were pointed towards you, I think that's a pretty good indication of, to move. No problem. He continues, it's cool. It's my fault. I'll take full responsibility. My shoulders are bigger enough to handle it all. You really do need like a PR manager, dude, like to spell check and like grammar check and stuff like that, because honestly, this kind of dog shit. But I just ask, before you get on this app and disrespect me, this staff, or this team, come sit down and get to know me and learn about this team. It's okay to screenshot and share. I'll protect my team no matter what. Well, Coach, I don't have the 6 hours to drive and talk to your ignorant ass. But my benefit of the doubt is out of the way, so I'm going to go on another app, YouTube, and talk shit about you and your team. So what if the school didn't tell you anything? You didn't hear the loud-ass 100-piece band coming your way? And not only you, but your 5 other position coordinator coaches? Like, come on, dude. This was easily the most avoidable thing that has probably happened in your 10 years coaching there. But that's not the only thing I'm pissed off at. This post alleges that these color guard members and their parents lied about what happened to them. So let's take a closer look, shall we? At about 1:24 in the video, granted this isn't color guard, but it was mentioned in the comments as well, you can see the tenor drums literally have to pull their drums away because players are holding them back.
So I didn't even notice this watching the first time. Look at around the 30-yard line where this player is. I guess they're still going through a drill, but it looked like he was also messing with the band members. I don't know. It could be a non-issue.
At a minute 47, you can see at least one player looking towards a color guard girl and saying something to her. So no, I'm not going to not disrespect your team because you disrespected Thibodeau's band. You didn't move, and it's obvious something happened between your players and the band in the midst of it. What I will do is talk about how not only did you get your ass kicked in that game, so those walkthroughs didn't really help at all, I'm going to talk about how Thibodeau and Terrebone's band have gotten more awards, ranked higher in the state, and won more things than your football team has in, God knows, 20 years. I mean, as far back as Max Preps goes, you have an overall 88 and 106 record. Yikes! Not to mention that y'all are 3-10 in the playoffs. Another yikes. And if there are any Terrebonne coaches or football players in here going to talk about, oh, you said you go to Salafouche. Salafouche is bad too. Yeah, I know. Regardless of the fact that y'all are 4-7 against us and haven't played us since 2014. So fuck off. Marching bands are so integral to the collegiate and high school sports experience. Like, I don't see how this stuff happens, but I think it's tied back to how people are trying to not allow bands to perform. All of Division I didn't let bands perform during COVID, and some conferences tried to keep it. Not only that, but a lot of these smaller D1 schools, they can't afford to run a wind ensemble and a marching band in the fall, meaning that some of these students actually are doing this for a grade as a class. And this is their only performance opportunity that they have during the fall. And in terms of high schoolers, these performances during halftime, they're not meant to entertain the audience. Yeah, that's part of it. But these are dress rehearsals for their competitions on Saturday. Those students get up the next day after your football game at 8, 7, hell, sometimes even 6 a.m. to travel for performances. And most of the time, they win more shit than the football team ever will. I think that I've gotten all I needed to say out. This was my first real try at scripted content. I don't think I formatted it the way I'd like, or that, it would roll off the tongue a lot better. But I think I did pretty good. I needed to get this out fast, and honestly, I still need that Cajun X chaos in the video if it was unscripted. Comment in the comment section your thoughts, and also don't forget to hit that like button and the subscribe button, or I will die from sadness. That's the stupidest thing I've ever written. Anyway, see you all in the next one. Peace.